Hi, Mary.
Hi, Nancy. It's so good to see you face to face.
I agree. I guess what I'd like to ask is it's an honor to meet you, and I just wonder what is your background in archaeology?
I was an archaeologist for the Forest Service for about 35 years. I retired in 2010, and even when I was working for the Forest Service, I did a lot of work with my husband, Jeff Burton, to help him with some of the relocation site archaeology.
I had been going to the National Archives in Washington, D.C., and I've been fortunate to have a friend there, and I go there and dig around the files. And when they roll out the cart with the boxes and the folders, and you open it up, and just amazing records, some which have never been seen before. You can tell because they're clipped, they're paper clipped or something in a way that you can see that people haven't really rifled through them before. I actually don't remember the particular moment I found that map. It would be good to say that I did, but I did know that it was special because it was hand drawn. It was extremely detailed. There was the blood spot, there were measurements, there was little drawings of the floodlight of the pole. And so I tucked it away, and frankly we didn't publish it until several years later. The National Archives is a treasure. It's like this last scene in Indiana Jones where they're pushing the ark into the archives, and it's like going to be there, and maybe somebody might find it and the world is going to end. I'm not saying that necessarily we're going to find that in our papers, but maybe someday we'll find the photograph of the monument that is referred to in the records. I'm looking at this. The military took photos. The military also took photos, or the government took photos of the blood spot. I've been looking for that for a long time.
Mm.
Those would be a really important to have. What we do have are a lot of text records, um, people writing back and forth about what to do, and the fact that there was resistance by the inmates right after the following morning. The military was armed with tear gas and machine guns. That kind of gets glossed over because the government was trying to downplay any sign of resistance. It came 4 months after the Manzanar uprising, as you know, Mary, and it was also coming right after the loyalty questionnaire, a month after that. So there was a lot of unrest and anger, frankly. When you saw this map that I found at the National Archives, what did you think? Because when I found it, I thought it was unusual because of the amount of detail, and also because it was hand drawn the day after Wakasa was killed.
That map is amazing, and I can't thank you enough for what you found in the National Archives. The detail, the precision, the well, like you say, the immediacy of it being done just a day after, uh, even marking that there's a blood stain.
Mhm.
It's very, very somber, I think, that map. But also not just the map, but the letters you found. I hadn't realized there was such a cover up. I mean, I hadn't realized there was such an effort to erase that monument when it
Yeah,
was built.
it's true that the minute he was killed, that cover up began because the military crossed the fence into the camp, which they're not supposed to do. They took the body, and then by the following day, people already had the narrative that Wakasa was escaping through the fence, which he wasn't because he was shot through the heart and the spine, parallel to the fence, and fell on his back. But anyway, when I found that map, I was puzzled because the military records and the court martial said that he was killed about 240 yards from the guard tower, and the map showed it was more like 314 yards. It was in feet and inches, but
Yes.
that discrepancy was there, and I didn't really know what to do with that.
Well, I think that the map, there could be a couple of reasons that's different than what the military. I guess we can't really trust what the military was saying, given that they were dishonest about him trying to crawl under the fence, and probably dishonest about him not yielding to the warning shouts. that he supposedly got. But I also think that it's possible when George Shimamoto made the map, he was maybe pacing or using a surveyor's wheel. It may have been, I believe his map is more accurate than what the military had estimated. They may have been just going off what, maybe they were even thinking, how accurate could somebody shoot from that far away? I mean, that is astounding that the bullet pierced his heart when it was from over 900 feet away.
Yeah, that's 3 regulation football fields away.
Yeah.
Hard to imagine that distance, one bullet traveling that distance and piercing his heart, and then saying that uh, that it was an accident or that he was escaping.
Yeah.
So when you saw that map, what made you? Did you say immediately, "Oh, let's go"? Because we published this article September 14th, and I think the following weekend you drove from California to Utah.
Yes, it was definitely an inspiring map. I think Mr. Wakasa's story is inspiring, and just the fact that his memory had been erased by the military, his monument had been destroyed by the military, that to me, it made it imperative to see if there was anything left. So, yeah, it was a good excuse, I guess, to get out of Owens Valley when the smoke was terrible here. It was hard to breathe.
It was also during the height of COVID.
Yes. So when we drove, and also Jeff was just in the middle or towards the end of chemotherapy. So he was probably anxious to do something more important than get infusions. I mean, for his life's sake, right? So he really wanted to get back to work. And this seemed a very good project.
Hmm. So were you expecting to find it? Were you?
No, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but we were hoping to find maybe a few fragments of concrete, just a few broken pieces maybe, or some small cobbles. The way it was described in the Assistant Secretary of War's letter, it sounded like it had been totally removed. And then the director of the WRA at Topaz, he said it had been completely removed from site. So we thought we'd have to be like real archaeologists searching for little tiny traces of concrete or something that would still be there. But it there was a lot more left than we had expected.